Hey guys, welcome to another episode of DeLuSioNaL's Arcade. So in this episode you can hear my Super Pac-Man working, but it's not this one that I'm restoring, it's actually a new one here. This one here I acquired recently on the classifieds over on Facebook, the groups, and I found it locally for, get this, $150. So I polished up the sides, used Simple Green and of course Magic Eraser to restore that and the control panel and polished it up. And I still have a little bit work to do with the kick plate, but you guys aren't going to want to miss this episode. We're going to install a high score save kit that we're homebrewing on our burner. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into the video. Alright guys, so we're back. We're actually in my living room and this is the Super Pac-Man. I actually acquired it today. I got it, I guess a notification last night. I got lucky on Facebook. One of the groups, I guess for the marketplace, had it listed locally for dirt cheap. And you can see the side. I mean, it does have some, needs some work. Like this is actually in a kids rec center in a church. And you can see they kind of put chalk on here, but it rubs off. So I just got to use probably Magic Eraser on the sides. But it seems pretty much intact, so I'm going to leave it as is. You know, I really began to kind of appreciate the patina on it throughout the years. At first I used to replace everything when I was first starting out in the hobby, but it doesn't work. They said just one day it stopped working. So there's the other side there. You know, it's in pretty decent shape. The front of it, let me go over here again. The front of it, I mean, I do have another marquee that's in perfect condition that I might swap it out with, but this is just a sticker, so I can just kind of take it off, swap it with the other one, and then over time I'm just gonna remove this with Gooby gone. Same thing here. The coin door actually looks like they had duct tape covering the slot because it probably didn't work, so I'm sure I could remove all that you know, with some Gooby gone. It's gonna take a while because it's on pretty thick because it's duct tape, but the coin door itself, it's in great shape. You know, I'm really happy about that. They did put a credit button on the side here. I'm going to leave that in there. I typically don't make my own because I don't want to ruin it. At first I thought, you know, I immediately looked to the right to see if there was like a lock bar or something on it, but that's not the case. Looks like somebody did drill it as a credit button, which, you know, since it's already there, I'm not going to remove it. I'm going to leave it. You know, it looks pretty clean and everything, so I'm just going to leave it there. But that's it. And the kick plate here, I actually have this. The guy, he's like, hey, I have this piece for it. I'm like, great. So he has the kick plate. Looks like it detached. It was stapled in. I could just staple it in, you know, once I clean it. It's actually good that it's off, so I can give it a good clean down there. So here's the rest of it. Magic Eraser will really brighten this up. I haven't done that yet. The joystick seems to be functioning okay. I don't know what these are. If anybody else has a Pac-Man, I'm going to check because I have another Super Pac panel downstairs. I don't recall these circles here. And you can kind of press them in a little bit. So I'm not really sure if they're the weld, where it's welded on or what. But you know, all the buttons seem to be working okay mechanically. There is a tiny bit of chipping on the edge here. Not a big deal. And flaking. But for the most part, it's in great condition. When I talked to the people, they said that, you know, shortly after it came out, and it's been sitting in there, you know, in use all this time. So hopefully it's been maintained too. They got guys to come in and service it. So I guess when it stopped working, they said, all right, let's get it out of here. So I got this at a stupendous price. Really, really great. And I'll tell you guys what I got it for. I got it for 150 bucks. As it sits, it actually had the original paperwork. I'll show you in the back. And it even has, you know, it's kind of yellowed, the paper, but it's still kind of cool. And it did come with, I have it here on the side. This is actually inside the cabinet. I pulled it out. But it looks like the schematics came with it, which is kind of cool. It was upgraded. They did say it was serviced, so it looks like they did put a switching power supply in there. That's the original power supply down there. So the first thing I did was, and by the way, the monitor does turn on. I see net glow and I hear that it works and stuff. So I just turned it on now. I got my multimeter out. And what I was going to do is I was going to test the voltage with it unplugged. So I kind of just unplugged it here. You know, this is where the power is going to the board because I don't want the wrong power as I'm adjusting it. And I was gonna, you know, kind of just put a multimeter on here, but when I went to put the multimeter on, I realized that this wasn't connected. I don't know if you can see that. This here is totally disconnected. It actually needs to be crimped properly so it doesn't fall out like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and just try to screw them in really quick to see, you know, where it goes, but most likely that's probably supposed to be on -5. There's 12 volts and then ground. So most likely this is what the cause is. Not the power supply itself, but just the way it's wired. It probably came out. They said they turned it on and nothing happened. It was dead. But the monitor would turn on. So they thought the board was dead. They said, that's it. We're getting rid of it. I believe that's what the problem is. So I'm going to go ahead and reconnect that. And we'll see if it corrects the problem. So I'm going to connect it. Test the voltage on it. And then we'll just reconnect the board back to there. This is the original Super Pac-Man board. Looks like it'll work fine. Fingers crossed this is what fixed it. It was just a fuse. Actually, I tested the fuses as well. They're all good. I even tested these two down here. Not sure if they're active or not because only some of the power supply is working. But yeah, so let's go ahead and do that. So let me go ahead and get in here. Kind of see better what's going on. Yeah, it looks like this totally came out. So there's common. Yeah, so these two, this one here is +5. These two are ground. This is +12 and this is -5. So nothing's loose over here, and it looks like this probably, the AC in looks like it's going correctly, and it was lighting up when I did turn it on. So let's go ahead and put this in here. It could have gotten jostled on the way when I brought it over, but this, in addition to being only $150, was around the corner from my house. So I just rented a local U-Haul truck. I'm actually going to put it on this way just so it stays in nice and snug there. I rented a U-Haul for 20 bucks. Paid for maybe $10 in gas. Just because, you know, I don't want it to be empty when I returned it. And the rest is history. So let's see. Now this probably isn't going to be in there well. Like I said, I'm going to re-crimp it. I'm just curious to see if this is what the problem was, because this was dangling off when I opened up the back. So that's there. Let me make sure these are nice and tight here. Yep, that was a little loose. You know, I wonder if that's ground actually. I don't know, I'm looking at it because these are the same color as these. Oh, look, this one came off now. Can't assume that that's where it goes, even though it was open, because a lot of them were already open. But it looks like they did upgrade it. But typically red is +5 and +12 is usually yellow, but there are a lot of yellows, so it's very possible that that's ground. Yeah, this is all like... Alright, let me take these out of here. Oops. Yeah, this is hanging on by like a thread. Yeah, so these are all twisted together apparently. So what I may have to do is look at the wiring and try to figure out what's going on here. You know what? Let me get my stuff. I'm gonna crimp it properly because it's way too fat to fit. So I was looking at schematics. I actually have my laptop on the side here, and let me just put that back. Okay. And here's the connector here. This is the one that matches my diagram here. So I have 3 ground and then +12. So what I'm gonna do, I mean, it's unplugged. I'm going to use continuity so I can figure out what wire is going to where. So these wires, you can't really fit the multimeter inside there. So what I usually do is I'll kind of push it on a little bit so that the wire is exposed here, you know, the actual piece of metal. So these grounds should match up And let me actually do both. So this one. Yeah, this one, if I do this one, it should do nothing. Oh no. So I wonder if they're both ground actually. And plus 12 would be orange. So it's ground, 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 minus plus 12. So ground, 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 minus plus 12. Okay, so this is 12, which is there. This looks to be like ground, which is here and here. Okay, I wonder if these two are connected in any way. Let's see. Yeah, so this is ground. So these two were supposed to be connected to ground. That's plus 12. Looks like minus 5 was not used. And plus 5, which is the red. So plus 5, which is here. Okay. Plus 5 should be pin number 9 and 10. That's all the way on the end. 9 and 10. Okay, so we got it all mapped out. Let me turn this off. And what I'm going to do, I guess I'll leave them fat like that. I just don't like how they look. So I'm going to go ahead and redo these. And this is the vice grip one. It really works really great. It actually has a little end here where you can kind of limit to where you put the wire in. So you would put the wire in here and then it would stop it. You can actually adjust that as well, or just take it off completely by doing that. So this one works awesome. You'll see in a second. So these are all ground. So what I'm going to do is just slice it off. Has a cutter on there too. And there we go. And it's cool, so you can get them to the exact length. So I'm actually going to take this one. That looks like it took off a little too little. So what I do is I move this just to adjust it correctly. I want them pretty long because I want to be able to twist them together. I'll adjust it a little tiny bit. I think that'll do it. Perfect. So there's one, and then the rest it just cuts exactly the same. 2. And this will cut, it'll actually strip the wire sheathing around this. If you have a whole bunch of wires, like for a power cord, it'll just take the outside off and not affect the wires inside. For house wiring, it works really good too. I think this one is a little too short. Let me, there we go. So now I'm going to take these, kind of put them all together. It is kind of thick to have 4, but I'm not really sure. We really should have some sort of terminal blocks where I can put them all together, but let's try this, see how it works. So I'm going to twist them all together. Wow, it's really tough. And then, I don't know if this will be fat enough. Yeah, it looks like it'll work. So now I have my crimper, and it has different settings. There's red, blue, and yellow. And typically red is what you use for arcade games, but in this case, I'm making it a little thicker here. So I'm going to put this in here, stuff it in there, and crimp. It's a ratchet, so crimps perfectly, usually. Yeah, so that's on there really good. Let me do the same to this. I'm going to just get rid of this cluster F over here. Let me just get that last one. I'm trying to cut them all at once. I think we're just what my problem is. There we go. And again, this is already set for the other one, so I can just bam. And I'm trying to keep all the cabinet nice and neat inside. That's why I keep taking this out like that, dumping it. No wire sheath there. Alright, so these I can twist together now. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm always a fan of doing things the right way the first time. So, I mean, I could have screwed it in the way it was, I guess. But let's just do it the right way. I'm going to get another cent. Is that right? Yep. Let me just double check. Yeah, that might be too wide. So again, I'm just going to stick this in here. And if you guys want a link to this, this is like one of the best crimpers. It's like 24 bucks, which is technically cheap for crimping a Ratchet Crimper, but works really great, and it saves your hand. Right now everything's on there. Okay. Might as well do it to these two. I'm actually gonna take my screwdriver. Yeah, this one's just screwed in there. So I'm gonna give it a nice fresh. The reason I'm doing that is because sometimes they oxidize over time. I'm not gonna make this one as long though, so I'm gonna do this. There's nothing to twist together. So you just put it together. And let me see if this fits real quick. So this time I'm gonna put it in the red one. And pop this in there like that. Okay. Bam. All right, let me put this back in too. And I'm doing all this without my glasses. My eyesight has just gotten worse. Once you turn 40, that's it. It is over when it comes to eyesight. So this looks like it was plus 12. This is way easier. And I'm also facing them this way. I don't know why they had them the other way. Alright. You know what? I forgot to do this one here. So let me go ahead and cut this off. Usually cuts pretty good, but like I said, they're all together, so. And I'm going to put this back to the long setting here. Okay. So if this works, I'm going to be super happy. So it means I paid 150 bucks for Super Pac-Man. I mean, the boards alone, I'm sure, are at least 100 bucks. So if anything, I can test that. I think I have, well, you know what? It's actually non-standard. I have a Pac-Man and Ms. Pac to JAMA adapter, but I don't think the Super Pac will work because it's different. Alright, so is that together? Alright, let me get her. Again, I'm going to use a blue one, which is thicker. I'm going to revisit this later, but for now, I think this is good enough. So this is plus 5. Go ahead and take this out. Get it underneath the proper way. Alright, and then this ground looks like it goes here. I don't see anything connected to minus 12, and I thought I saw something in the schematics that said that it needs that, but I'm not sure what the deal is, because there's some that's just disconnected. Not really sure, so let's go ahead and take this out. screw it in like that. Just making sure everything's nice and tight. I'll probably end up redoing these as well. I see they used electrical tape down there, so I'm not sure what that is. Again, it was worked on by someone else, so I really should have put it underneath, but whatever. Alright, so I'm going to take this out just to be safe. I'm going to test the voltages. So let me go ahead and plug this in. Okay. Turn it on. Oh, interlock. Alright. So far so good. I'm going to go to test my voltages. Let me make sure it's on DC. Yep. Right. So you got ground and +5. So let's test +5 first. You got common. So it looks like it's 5.32, which is a little high. So I'm going to go ahead and lower it. I lowered it to like 5.02. I'm going to test the +12. It looks like it's 11.48, which is okay. And then typically pin 1 on the ROM, I believe it's down there. I'll test it under load in a minute. But for now, let's see if this sucker works. I'm going to pop that back on, turn it off here, and let's see. Hopefully we'll get it to boot. If not, another trick we can do is pushing in all the chips. So let's see. Alright guys, fingers crossed. Let's see what happens. Oops. Here we go. Oops. I must have hit it the first time. Alright, here we go. Fingers crossed. Oh! Something's happening. And we have a working game. Awesome. So all it was the power supply wires were loose. I hear a hum. I can figure that out later. Let's go ahead and crank it up. Looks like the monitor looks pretty decent actually. Let me go ahead and zoom out a little bit. Yeah. Looks good. Yeah, that hum, it's probably I just have to mess around with the speaker wire. But yeah. Up, down, left, right. Speed works. Let's try it again. I'm trying to play with one hand here. Let me see if the speed works. Yeah, it looks like this. Oh yeah, this button works fine. Awesome. Cool. And it looks like the marquee light's on too. Looks a little dim, but could always fix that. Awesome. Alright guys, so I'm going to do a quick little walkthrough. So this machine, actually I got it done really good. I'm actually going to grab the original marquee. And this is the marquee here, where you can see the comparison. This is the old one on the bottom, which had like stickers all over it and stuff, and the one I bought. This is a, I guess, original one that I got on Clav for my other project. So this one could still be cleaned up though. I just have to do Gooby Gone and kind of remove all the stickers and stuff. Not a big deal. Those scratches that you see on the bottom actually aren't too bad. They're actually covered by this bracket here, the lower bracket on the marquee. So it was kind of cool that I did that. Now as far as the side goes, you can see it does have some patina on here, which is scratches and stuff if you look at that really closely on the edges as well. I was going to change the T-molding to be yellow, But I kind of, I don't know, I think I'm going to leave it now as original as possible. I might touch up the edges. Like you can see there, the paint is kind of missing on there. If you look really close, you can see it. I do have color matched exactly. I mean, you can see on this paint right here, this is the color match paint on there. It looks like it's a little brighter, but that's because it needs another coat. But this is very close, and I do have, like I said, color match paint for it. So this was filthy. I'll show you some before pictures. You can see kind of like on the left side, you know, compare it to this, but that basically had like, you know, it had scratches on it. It had like scuff marks everywhere. So that's the left side. And then on this over here, you can see on the bottom there, I'll show you the before and after actually. I actually have a photo where I compared it because I posted it on Twitter. And if you guys want to follow me, you can just go to @delsarcade on Twitter. I post a lot of stuff on there. Like if I just, you know, I think I posted that I first picked it up, so you kind of get a little preview of what's going on. I also use Magic Eraser. I took the buttons out and cleaned the joystick and stuff, lubed it up. And also, you know, did the Novus polisher. I used 3, 2, and then 1 on the buttons. And these were really filthy, and now they look great. So you can see there's the before and then the after. And when I mean filthy, like inside the buttons themselves and the rings, you could kind of see brown right over here because it was rusted because of the spring. I didn't really do much. You know, the bezel here, it looked like it was in really, really good shape. The monitor might need a recapping in the future, but for now, it actually looks really, really good. So I may cap it, I'm not sure. I do have a humming sound, I don't know if you can hear it. You hear it more when you play. So if I kind of start it here, you can hear it there. Yeah, so I'm not really sure what that is. I don't know if it's a grounding issue because it was hacked up. Somebody converted it to a switching power supply, and instead of getting the kit like they should have done, they actually just hacked it all together. So I will deal with that in the future. But you know, for now, I guess what we'll do is we'll install the high score save kit on this thing, get it burned. I'll kind of take out my laptop, but you can see the condition on this. Here is the after and the before. You'll see right over here where, like, you know, it looked really bad. But Magic Eraser does wonders as long as you don't use it too much. I mean, it really did clean up this cabinet. It did come with the back door. I actually have it off now because we're going to go ahead and install, burn and install that kit, the high score save kit. So again, you know, not bad at all for 150 bucks. So I'm really glad I got it downstairs. After I fixed it upstairs, like you just saw, brought it down here and just cleaned it up a little bit, and I think it looks really, really sharp. So I'm very happy with this purchase, and it's going to be here for years to come, I can tell you that, because I love this game, and I, you know, can always switch it around to maybe Pac and Pal or Pac-Man and Chomp Chomp. So we'll mess around with that in future videos. But for now, let's go ahead and burn the kit. And I'm just going to show you right now, just real quick. I'm going to play a quick game. We'll come back, and I'll show you how it doesn't save and retain the score. We'll burn the chip and then come back and see if it saves it. All right, guys, so here we are. It's 39,800. That's the high score for the Super Pac-Man you can see here. And I have my initials there. It's DEL. It's first place. So I'm going to go ahead and power the machine off. And you should be able to basically just see it boot up. And I believe the default score is 30,000. Let's see here. Yep, there it is, 30,000 high score. So it completely erased my scores, put all the default names in there. I think the default is blank, actually. So let's go ahead and install this kit, and we'll see where we'll take it from there. All right, guys, so we're back. So I have my laptop here. This is actually my trusty laptop that I got through a friend. It was actually a hand-me-down. I got it for free. And I just upgraded it. Something was wrong with the hard drive, and I ended up just throwing my old solid-state hard drive that's 120 gigs in there. I kind of outgrew that on my other computer, and I put a 500 gig in there. And I mean, it boots up really quick. It works great. I have the GQ4X programmer, which you guys see right here. And I can just kind of just toss the chips in and bring this with me and just burn anything I want to do. It's great. It makes it portable instead of having to use my home PC. It is running Windows 7. So this programmer here, the GQ4X, you can see the link in the description. This is an excellent programmer. Everything I've thrown at it, I mean everything I've thrown at it has worked, including, I mean, I was trying to burn some Galaga chips. Not Galaga, I'm sorry, Galaxian chips, you know, which are different chips which require power. And this thing does have a power supply that you can get for it. I got it for like $7 on eBay. You know, you just have to check the manual that shows what kind of type you need. Stick it in there and it works great. For the most part though, I mean, 80% of the stuff will work fine. For me, that Galaxian wasn't working, so I ended up just getting this, the power supply, and bam, it worked. So this even burns, I believe, 2732s, which I was using for my Defender, and also 2532As, which are kind of almost impossible to burn, especially Texas Instruments brand. And I got it to burn on these. So this thing has done everything. I can say with confidence that it's done everything I've thrown at it, including Nintendo chips, just everything. It's great. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the software. There's a software here. It's a programmer software. It actually checks to make sure the GQ4X is detected. Once it detects it, it goes right in. It's updating the firmware. It just checks it. And right now, the last chip that I burned was the 2716. And those chips require power, but it'll tell you external power may be needed if it fails. I always try it first. If it fails, I could always just erase it again and then try again. But for the most part, you know, I just leave it without the power adapter and it usually works. But these are a little finicky, so sometimes I'll plug it in. But like I said, everything works with it. All right, so basically JROK, if you go to his site, he has a Super Pac-man page where he kind of has the board overview and all that stuff. And on the bottom, he has the new EPROM files that you replace on 1B and 1C. You have to burn them to 2764. That's 8K times 8 chips. So I'm going to go ahead and right-click, save link as, and I'm just going to throw it here on my desktop. Okay, so let me go ahead and close that. Let me exit this for now. And I'm just going to extract it right to the high score save. And you can see it right here. That's a README file and like what to do. It's just telling you to take it and put it on 1C and 1B on the CPU board. So the CPU board is, I believe, on the front side. On the outside, it's actually a 2-board stack that you put together. And on this side that's facing outward is the CPU board. And then the other board with the RAM is on the inside where we put the NVRAM. So we're going to have to take the board out to do this upgrade. So let me go ahead and open my burning software. And I did order, I actually ordered a few things actually. This is actually some extra CPUs for my Defender. They were dirt cheap and there was 3 of them, so I figured let me pick some up in case I have to replace them. So that's on a later video. And then I actually ordered the chips. So they usually come in like, I mean, I got them from China. Usually they come erased already. I'm not sure if these are erased or not. I usually try them, and if it works, great. If not, then I just toss it in my eraser for a few minutes. I actually got a stronger eraser that does, you know, real UV light, and it's really powerful and it works great. So let me go ahead and take out a couple. So I'm going to go ahead and stick it inside my writer here, my burner. So usually you stick it in like that. And then, oh, actually I forgot to lift this first. So you put it in, everything's good. I usually hold it down and press it down, it doesn't come out. So the chip itself, if you look at it, it's gonna say, right now, this is an ST chip. I believe ST for me has been the best brand to use. So I'm gonna click on device here. Anything else I've had to do it multiple times before it works. So I'm just going to leave it on all, and I'm actually going to select down in the drop-down list ST. There it is right there. And then the model number on this one, it looks like it's a M2764. So let me scroll down. You could type it in as well, but I'm just going to do it this way. 512. Oh, here it is, M2764A. So ST2764A. I'm going to click select. It's actually going to load that device, and actually it changes over here too. It says 2764A, and it says no adapter required. So normally this will come with a whole bunch of adapters you could stick on there. I've never used any of them. I've always just used these kind of chips, so this has always worked. So it tells you no adapter. It's saying external power not needed. right here, that red was actually from the 2716, so 2764A looks fine. So what you do is, if I look at the buffer here, right now it's filled with stuff, but I'm going to hit, I usually hit read first. And if you look at the buffer, it should have F's in there, which is blank. Okay. You could also do blank check. So it's checking it, it says chip is blank. So I'm going to go ahead and load. And that's my defender that I was burning earlier. So let's see, super high score save, there we go. And at first it'll show nothing, but you have to actually select all files and you'll see them pop up. So I'm going to do the 1B first. And you just select default, which is binary, and then normal, and it starts at 0. Okay, 0 is like the buffer. You'll see up here the offset is 0 all the way down. So I'm just going to leave it as 0, which is default. All right, so it looks like it's loaded into memory here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on write. And it automatically writes. I think it writes, I set it for double write, just to make sure it's good, and then it'll verify at the end. So these have already been erased. Great. Okay, so it looks like it's good to go. Now my buffer obviously is here. It's funny, it says coin credit, second credit, Pac-Man. I wonder if you could change that to say different things. Like you actually just type it in and it changes the code on the left. Coin credit, Pac-Man, ranks, round 0. Probably can change it a little bit. Who knows? I'm going to leave it as is. I'm not going to mess with it. I'll mess with that some other time because I am going to burn Pac and Pal on this because Pac and Pal use the Super Pac-Man boards. So I'm going to give it a shot in another video where we can actually burn that. So this one's done. This is 1B. And let me just stick the other one in. And you're going to want the notch up, by the way, just like it shows you over here. So I'm going to go ahead and load the next one into memory. First I do is I'll just read it just to make sure that it's blank. And you'll see it's all blank with the F's. I'll put blank check, same thing. Now I'm going to go ahead and load the second one, which is the C. And okay, there it is. And I'm going to go ahead and write it. And while that writes, I'm actually going to grab my labeler. What did I do with it? Oh, it's over here. Okay, so I have a P-Touch labeler. This thing was like, I want to say 20 bucks, maybe $24. All right, so I went ahead and typed in high score 1B and high score 1C. I'm going to hit print. It's going to just spit it out on the side. Nice and neat. I'm going to kind of cut it here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and label it. So there's the first one, high score 1B. And the second one, there's the other one, high score 1C. So these are the two chips I'm going to replace on the CPU board. And then as for the NVRAM, let me actually open it. It's brand new. I got this from Mouser. And the reason I got it from Mouser, I think someone suggested using this brand. Again, it's ST, which supposedly lasts a little longer. So here it is. And this is, I think it's M19Z12. It's 0 power RAM, contains lithium cells. So I can't remember the exact model number. Just look in the description. I'll have the exact specs on that. But this is it right here. And this goes on the other side in place of the RAM. You just pop it out and put this in instead. And then whatever is modified in this code right here will be saved onto this RAM, the NVRAM, which lasts, you know, this will last, I guess, I don't know, 8-9 years. That's what they're saying. So let's go ahead and pop this in. I'm going to just stick the board out. We'll just pop it in real quick and then see if it saves the scores, see if we're successful. But this is all can be done at home. You don't have to order the $45 kit. These chips, for 10 of them, it was like, I don't know, 10 bucks for 10 of these, and I'm sure I'll use it for future applications as well. And then this, I can't remember offhand how much this was, but it was also cheap. It still came out cheaper than buying it, and plus the satisfaction of making it on your own is really cool too. So that's it, and plus I have other chips where I can make Pac and Pal and Pac-Man and Chomp Chomp. I'm actually going to try to put those on a board in a future episode so we can kind of play them and modify the game slightly. So it should be really cool, so they'll come in handy. All right, let's go ahead and pop that in. So let me go ahead and just take it out. I'm going to kind of, I'm going to shut it off obviously first. I'm not going to unplug it, it's not a big deal. I'm just disconnecting stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the audio connector. This is the RGB connector right here on the other side. I'm just working it way out. I don't want to force it or anything. I haven't cleaned this at all. I mean, I might as well do it while I have it out, but it's been working just fine. There's not really any corrosion on it or anything. It's actually in really nice shape. So that was the controls, I believe. And then here are the power connectors. Just 2 screws. Just grab it so I don't lose it. Put them right here. And then this should lift right off. It's just 2 screws here. I'll put that there as well. And then it should slide right out. There we go. And I just want to be careful too, because I don't want to really mess around with this here. This is the ribbon cable that connects the 2 boards. And I'm sure you can replace it. It's not like Defender where it's soldered in, but still I don't want to mess with that at all. So let me go ahead, throw it on my table. All right guys, so I have everything set up. So this is the actual CPU PCB on here. The video PCB is actually underneath upside down, so it's actually not like they're on top of each other. This board is unique where it has this ribbon connector where it connects them. So it kind of takes a sandwich and kind of just like folds it in half, kind of like this, and then puts it together. So the chips are on this side where you see here, and then on the other side it's directly opposite. You just flip it over so they're not, you know, underneath here. It's actually on the other side. So the 1B and the 1C are actually located over here, right next to the CPU. So you have the 1B here, it actually says it on the board here, and 1C says it right over here. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab a screwdriver, kind of put it underneath. And it looks like these are, let me just read it here. Yeah, it says Super Pac-man, November 4th, 1982, Bally, Midway. So I'm going to keep those in a safe place. So let me actually take them both out for now. Actually, I'll go on this side because I don't want to mess with that there. I don't know why it's not coming out as, well, let's see, try again. All right, so we'll take this side out now. All right, well, everything's intact. So I'm going to keep those in a safe place. In the meantime, let's see, this one says 1B. And we're going to take note, there's little notches on the board, and also that we're facing this way. And also, the rest of the board has all the notches facing down. And that's exactly what I want to do here. So I want to make sure, a lot of times when you buy these chips, they're set a little bit too wide. So you kind of just do what I'm doing here, which is, it's hard to see, but I'm just basically pressing on a table and bending them inward a little bit. So 1B, this goes down like this. Just want to make sure nothing's getting bent here. And that looks good, so I'm going to go ahead and push down, but I'm going to kind of put my hand underneath because I don't want it to bend the board too much. And then this one, let me do the same thing, bend the pins a little bit. I'll do that off camera. But I'm literally doing this on a table, flipping it and doing it the other way. So that looks okay. I'm going to put my hand underneath again so it won't bend the board too much. So those went in pretty easy. Just going to double check 1B, 1C, 1B, and 1C. All right, so that's the CPU board. Now I'm going to flip it over. And the video actually is located, the ribbon cable's here. So if I have it to the left, which is how it is on the diagram, I'm actually looking at my PC over here. Looks like it's this chip right here in the 2K position. Let me just double check here. 2K times 8 SRAMs, location 2K. Okay, so this is it right here. So I'm actually going to take this out. This is just a regular RAM chip. It's cool that they're socketed. They actually built these boards. A lot of people don't like them, I guess, because it's Super Pac-Man. But these boards are a lot better than the Midway Pac-Mans that you see out there. So now I'm going to take this, and there is a little notch on here. It's not really a notch, it's kind of like a little coloring. And also this pin right here is actually marked with a little dot, so you know that's pin 1. So that's going to go in this direction like this. So now I'm going to carefully put it on there. I'm going to go underneath with my hand, so when I push down it doesn't really bend the board too much. And that's it. So that's the NVRAM installed. So you have, I'll show you guys a little better. So you got the NVRAM right over here. That's in the 2K position. 2K is a number right there. And then if you flip it over, you have the high score 1C and the high score 1B, and it says 1C and 1B right here. So that's where you know that it's done. All right, so let's go ahead and pop this back in the machine, and we'll play a quick game, break 30,000, and then we'll see if it saves the high score when I shut it off and on. All right, so I'm grabbing the board, and I'm just gonna put it in exactly the way I had it before. I didn't clean the connectors or anything. I actually looked at them, and they were really clean. They're not corroded or anything like that. Yeah, everything looks pretty good. I still gotta, I'm sure I'm gonna mess with it later when I try to figure out that humming sound. Not sure if it's a capacitor that needs to be replaced or what, but if you guys have any idea what that sound is and how to correct it, that'd be really great. I'm not sure if it's because I hooked this up like we saw earlier, if it's really hooked up right. I wish they hadn't clipped the connector like that. And it looks like that board kind of slides in there. There we go. 1, 2. All right, now let's pop the power in. This is the power right here. It's keyed, so it only goes in one way. This here is the controls. And this is the video. Let me put it on top like I should have done before when I put those wires on. Again, this is keyed, so you can't put it in backwards. And last but not least, the speaker, which is also keyed. And let me pop this back on here. All right. So this is interlock switches out. Everything is good to go. It's all connected. All right, so let's go to the front. I'm actually going to turn the machine, put it in its place, and we'll see if it worked. All right, guys, so I have it all positioned. Let's turn it on for the first time together and see if it works okay. And there you go. It's working great. You can hear that static noise that I'm talking about. It's just a hum in the speakers. Pretty sure it's coming from some sort of ground on the speaker itself or on the connector. We'll try to figure that and troubleshoot that in a new video. Okay, so it says high score. It looks like high score is 0 now, so something else is going on here. It's not the default 30,000. I'm actually letting it go through, and JPR is probably JROK. I'm not sure if that's his initials, but you know, that's really cool. I'll leave it for now, you know, because it's going to get overwritten anyway with the high scores that we put on there. So let me go ahead and start a game and see if it behaves normally, and if we can turn it on and off and it sticks. Let's see. So this is typically my pattern when I first start. I try to get most of the keys And then I just go for this one. See if I can grab most of them here. I'm going for all of them. That was a little risky. Trying to go for a high score here. I actually missed the bonus there, but it's worth it to get these monsters instead. Oops. No. Trying to get away from these guys. Now they're going a little faster, it's gonna suck. But let's see if I can get away with it. I knew it. Okay, not too bad. I'm going through to the dead end, I know. I just want to get this last one here. So if you guys haven't noticed the object of the game, there's these little things, the doors, and you open them up by getting keys. You could also break through if you get the Super Pac-man. You can actually eat through those. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I'm just finishing this up as quick as possible. Right now I got the jackpot. That actually does it randomly. 2,000 I think is one of the higher scores you can get there. Okay. And I finished this board. So in between a couple rounds, I usually have a bonus round here. So right now I do have the high score. Obviously it reset it to 0. That's actually good to know. I assumed it was going to be 30,000 when we first turned it on. So right now you just want to eat all the power pellets and all the donuts. And you want to do it before the time runs out. See, that was only worth 200 points right there. So I don't really have a pattern for that board yet. I'm still new with the game, but I'm sure in time I will. Okay, now we're going to go on to the next round. And what's cool is in the high scores, it actually shows what round you got up to. Okay. I'm ignoring that again. I'd rather get the high score. Now it's a little dangerous. That was close. I'm gonna go through here, slow them down. You can get the additional keys even though the doors are already open. It's just for extra points here. I'm gonna go around here. I don't think I can get that guy. But I am going to go for the key. No, I'm not. Oh, I shouldn't have gone for it. I'm just gonna go down. Alright, so I finished that board. So right now the dip switch settings are for, I haven't double checked them, but it's only for 3 guys. So I'm just gonna leave it for now and I'll check them later. Yeah, it just went away. People are probably cringing like, oh, how can he be playing that badly? Whoa. That was crazy right there. I should have went down. Okay, I think this is my next to last guy. And later on, you can't tell what keys open what. It's kind of weird. At the beginning, they're right next to where you need to be at, but later on, you can't tell what opens what. That's about my new average now, is about 50,000. Later on, the difficulty gets hard because you stay as Super Pac-Man for less time. Oh, that was crazy too. Should have went down there. Maybe I'll get away with it. Side doors are always good. It slows them down. Right now they're going crazy. There we go. Not bad. So this is my last guy. Another bonus stage. Cool. Wow, this might be the highest score ever. At least for me. Cool. Actually, when I first saw this game, I didn't understand it, and I didn't really like it too much. I was like, I'm not impressed, you know? But over time, I mean, shoot, I just died. I began to appreciate the game, and it's really, really hard, but it's fun. All right, so let me go ahead and enter my name. Let's enter Del. All right, so 79,670. Let's see if it saves that. So I'm gonna kind of shut the power off now. Leave it off for like, I don't know. Let's leave it off for a good 10 seconds here. All right. Now let me go ahead and turn it back on. And success, 79,670. So that homebrew, thanks to JROK, by the way, for writing that code. We burned our own EPROMs, and you can do it a lot cheaper than $45 plus shipping. So great. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and leave the link in the description. I'm not going to link to the ROMs. I'm actually going to link, you know, you can just do a search for JROK and then you'll find it. But I am going to leave a link on what I bought at Mouser.com for the NVRAM. STRAM, people are saying lasts a lot longer than the default one that JROK, I think, says to use on his site. So it worked great. I'll just put the specs and the model number and the EPROMs as well, so you know which ones to buy, so you want to burn it. I do have an additional set, which I may I'll probably, you know what, I'll probably end up saving it for my other Super Pac-Man that I have over here. I'm not sure if I'm going to throw an original board in there or not, but if I do, I'll have it. But yeah, guys, this is so easy to do. It's very simple, and you can do it to your Super Pac-Man, and it really does, you know, one of the annoying things that I didn't like is that I'd get really high, like at 50,000 or something, and it wouldn't save it. So this definitely is the way to go. So I guess that about does it for this video. I'm glad you guys came along. It wasn't arcade hunting episode where I travel and stuff, since it was around the corner from my house, but it really was cool to have the game here and to kind of get it working together. So I'm glad you guys really got to see that, and I really appreciate it. So again, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the like button and the bell icon below. You'll see it right here. If you click on that, it'll actually email you with updates on you know, when I post videos and stuff like that. So again, thanks for watching this arcade hunting series, and don't forget to check out my future and past episodes for arcade hunting. I have a lot of good ones where I picked up Defender, Galaga, and final lap. Like, I picked up a ton of stuff, and it's always fun going on the road and meeting new people in this hobby, and I love doing that. So hit me up on Twitter as well, at delsarcade, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. Take care.